Hey, what's going on everybody? It's Mike for Sim Racing 604 and welcome to my video on field of view, or FOV as you may have seen it online, and specifically how we're going to set it up in Assetto Corsa. And we'll get into exactly what field of view is and how it can benefit you in Assetto Corsa. So, what is field of view? Field of view is basically the view you have from your driver's seat in Assetto Corsa. So, if you saw the thumbnail for this video, there's sort of two views. One was sitting further back in the cockpit of an F1 car, and one was more up front. And depending on your screen size, one may apply more than others. So you've probably, if you're new to Assetto Corsa or have never messed with your field of view, you probably set it up to where all you've done is booted up the game and taken the default setting, and you might have even opened up the I can't remember the name of it, onboard settings or onboard view app in Assetto Corsa, and maybe messed with the seat position a little bit, but you've probably included your mirrors and the steering wheel, because quite frankly it looks great, and so do those cool gloves, but that may not be correct. So what you want with field of view is an accurate representation of your monitor as a window to what it would look like if you were driving the car. And if that doesn't make a lot of sense right now, it will throughout this video. And all we need to determine the correct field of view is the size of your monitor. It's probably, when you bought it, it's classed as 24, 27, 32, something like that. And that's the diagonal measurement approximately of the monitor, and we don't need it to be exact, but it's a class of monitor, 24, 27, 32, 42, whatever it is, and that is important. The game's aspect ratio, so it's probably set up at 16:9. There's also a 4:3 setting, and if you have an ultra wide monitor, it's going to be 21:9. And then finally, the third piece of data is how far your eyes are from the screen. And there's a couple ways to ascertain that. Probably the most effective is to go out, do a few laps in whatever car, whatever track, and at some point just freeze, and remember where your head is, and have a piece of string or a measuring tape in your lap, and just quickly measure the distance from just your nose in between your eyes to the screen, and then get that measurement. And depending on the game, the field of view, you can either adjust the horizontal field of view or the vertical field of view, and we're keeping this one specific to Assetto Corsa, so it is the vertical field of view that we will be adjusting this game. So if you're this far in, if you're 3 minutes into this video and wondering, why do I care about field of view, I'll just use what is most comfortable. I like to see my mirrors. Fair enough, but correct field of view will improve your lap times. It is absolutely critical. Sim racers who compete at a very high level know the importance of it, and generally amateur racers do not. What it is the proper perspective allows you to spatially judge where you are in the car and have a better sense of the tire, where the tires are in relation to curbs, in relation to braking points, that kind of thing. Spatial properties of the vehicle allowing you to hit apexes and braking points is kind of a fancy way of saying it's more immersive. There's much more of a connectedness to the road. So you'll see when you start messing around with it, you'll see just how natural it feels very, very shortly after you set it. And I will repeat one more time, this will improve your lap times. If you're thinking this is just something you'll eventually get around to, I recommend that you take 10 minutes, watch the rest of this video, and then boot up your Assetto Corsa and do this setup. It will not take long, and I can almost guarantee you will very, very quickly find some results. I did it very recently and set it up, got my correct setting, and I shaved 1.5 seconds off just like that. The only thing I changed was the field of view. So that's an immediate difference there. And one more, I realized after I had set it up that my seat was in the wrong position. I had just adjusted the seat position. So I got the seat where I wanted it and shaved an additional half second. So that's 2 full seconds that I shaved off my best time at Spa just from adjusting field of view. So do not take this lightly. So how do you go about changing your field of view in Assetto Corsa? First and foremost, what you want to do is open onboard settings. It's that little racing helmet with a cone in front of it, indicating field of vision. So boot up Assetto Corsa, start a race, open up your apps and onboard settings. You'll be brought to this screen. This will pop up right in the middle. And what you want to do is hit that reset button right in the middle and make sure it goes back to its normal state. Then we're going to quit out of that race and go back to the main menu. I apologize that writing is tiny, but in the View tab under Options, you'll see Field of View, and using the calculations that I put at the end of this video, or actually the data I put at the end of this video, figure out the correct field of view for your particular setup and enter it at this screen. And then you'll want to go back into the race and make sure under global settings, the field of view matches what you have on the main screen that we just set. If not, you'll want this global settings field of view to match the data that we input both in the settings screen that we just did and what's at the end of this video for your particular setup. And one final step is those 4 arrows on the left there, up, down, left, right, is your seat position. I tend to click up a few times and sit a bit higher. Just feels more natural to me. I'm a tall guy, so I like to sit a little bit higher in a car, and I'm used to having sort of a downward view of a road. Not to mention, in Assetto Corsa, it's nice to see the curbs as we're ripping around a track. Left and right, it's up to you. I don't know why you would necessarily want to shift left or right in your seating position, but if it makes you happy to move it over left or right a few clicks, go for it. And if you get this all set and find that you can't see your mirrors and it's a bit of a helpless feeling, is it a bad thing? Yes and no. If you do hot lapping, which is primarily what I do, I don't do many races. I find anyway, I'll save that for a separate rant, but I mostly hot lap, so I don't even look at my mirrors typically. But if you do a lot of racing, I recommend you try the Assetto Corsa app. You can put it wherever you want on your screen, and what it does is it's very simple. It looks like an old school 8-bit game, and it shows you in the middle, and then any cars that are around you, it shows them in sort of a sonar fashion. So very, very cool app, excellent for racing. And if you've lost your mirrors as a result of this field of view setting, then you can use the Assetto Corsa app to still know where you are in relation to other cars. And what do I do if my field of view is too small? And this is a common thing, and it even happened to me. I'm only running a 24-inch monitor, and I'm sitting about 30 inches away from it. Actually, a little bit less than that. So it's a bit unnatural at first, but there are options, and unfortunately, none of them are too terribly cheap. So 4 options: bigger monitor, you can sit closer to your screen, you can go to a triples setup instead of a single monitor, or upgrade to VR. And if you know much about computers, you know none of those is very easy. Bigger monitor, you can get into a bigger monitor for the kind of $150 US price for something decent, on up to several $100s if you want to get into 4K. To sit closer, chances are if you're sim racing, you're sitting as close as you comfortably can, but you may want to look into getting an extending wall bracket to hold your monitor or something like that to bring the screen closer to you. Of course, you don't want to get it too close. You don't want to get eye fatigue from sitting that close to a monitor. Migrate from a single to a triple monitor setup. Keep in mind that's not as simple as going and buying 3 24-inch monitors or something like that. You will also need a powerful video card to run that. So that's not a cheap upgrade. And VR, yeah, I don't know. We just came out of Prime Day on Amazon, and they were selling the Oculus for $400. But again, you need a powerful enough video card to run an Oculus. So could easily run you $1,000. So none of these are really cheap. So you might just have to live with a smaller field of view. Keep in mind that it's going to feel really funny at first. When I first set mine up, it was actually that same race where I eventually shaved, or set of races that I eventually shaved 2 seconds off. I booted it up. I thought, there's no way this is correct. I'm sitting way too far forward, and I remember the turns felt really unnatural. I was yanking the wheel too hard. I was oversteering, and then I was understeering at other times, and turns seemed tighter, and it was really tough. But those times you saw where I started shaving off, 1.5 seconds, and then followed that up by another half second, that was only about 10 laps after I had started adjusting my field of view. So you get used to it very, very fast. So yeah, I said a few hours here, but honestly, it's probably less than an hour to get used to it. So don't freak out if it feels too small, but you will probably get an idea of why people run triples. It's very, very cool for field of view. And can you make small adjustments? Yeah, you absolutely can. If you plan on turning pro, or you're very, very serious about sim racing, chances are you're not watching this video, first of all, because you probably already recognize the benefits of field of view and have probably done this way, way back. However, if you do want to get ultra serious, you will have to get precise, very, very precise. But for people like myself who just like a good sim race, yeah, if you're off by a few degrees, it is not the end of the world. And what I say is make it work for you. So if part of your mirrors are obstructed in your correct field of view, you can adjust it back a little bit so that you can see your whole mirror. There's no crime in that. As long as you're, plus or minus a few degrees, it's not going to make or break your lap time. And finally, final point on this is you can adjust it some, but don't adjust it too much, because keep in mind, the closer you are to perfect, the faster you will be. And if I didn't include, I've tried to hit all the major sizes of screens here, but of course I can't include everything and all the distances. If you sit closer than 24 inches or your screen is larger than 55 inches, I won't have your data here, but I can help you out a little bit with that. Look up the one that's closest to you. And then you'll have to apply some math. And what I mean by that is, generally, the closer you get, the larger, the higher value you can use for your field of view setting, or the larger your monitor. If you're running something crazy like a 70-inch, which I'm super jealous of if that's your sim rig, you can use a very high field of view setting. In fact, you might max it out. I should have checked what the max setting is in Assetto Corsa, but it's certainly, if you're getting into that level of screen, you're going to have a massive, massive field of view without any loss to reality. And yeah, so for example, if you have a 17-inch monitor, you're going to look at this 19-inch settings and step it down from there. Or conversely, if you're sitting closer than 24 inches, yeah, your ophthalmologist is going to love you, and you can just step up the values from 24 inches for your particular monitor. So finally, after that giant 13-minute preamble, we'll get into the raw data. Almost. That was a little teaser. I've added it in large font, so obviously if you're running a 24-inch monitor or something like that, you won't care about the 19s and so on and so on. So I'm going to just leave it for a few seconds at each screen, and feel free, skip ahead, skip back, find where your monitor is in your particular distance, note down the field of view, and that should be it for this video for you. And for all intents and purposes, triples operate the same for field of view as a single monitor. So if you are running triples and wondering about your field of view, just it's the same as singles, but if you want to get a precise value, again, if you're very serious about your sim racing and want an exact, to the decimal point kind of thing, or to 2 decimal points, there are lots of calculators online that help me get this data, and you can look those up. I have rounded to the nearest whole degree because that's how Assetto Corsa operates, but if you want to get ridiculously precise, go ahead and use one of those calculators. All right, first up is your 19s. All right, guys, that's going to do it. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something from this video. Field of view was something I had kind of been putting off for a long time, and I finally got into it very recently, and it was so simple to set up. I wondered if there was other like-minded individuals out there. Maybe I'm the only one who never bothered to set it up. Who knows? I guess the view count will be the ultimate litmus test. So thank you guys for watching. I hope this has been beneficial. If you guys are crushing your lap times, please let me know, and I'll continue to make videos like this. All right, thank you so much for watching.